Unit 1. Periodicity of elements and their properties. Lesson 4. Water. What are the sources of water? Water areas such as rivers, oceans, and seas. Rains, wells, and springs. Importance of water internationally. Water is used internationally in three fields, which are personal fields, industrial fields, and finally, agriculture fields. We can conclude from the previous graph that the main fields in consuming water internationally are agriculture fields, which represent the largest percentage in consuming water, as you can see from this graph, industrial fields, which is represented by blue bars, and finally, personal fields, which are represented by green bars, which represent the lowest percentage in consuming water. Also, we can conclude the following from the previous graph. Asia is the largest continent in consuming water in agriculture. Europe is the largest continent in consuming water in industry. North America is the largest continent in consuming water for personal uses. Finally, Africa is classified as agriculture continent. What is the structure of water? Water molecule is formed from one oxygen atom and two hydrogen atoms, H2O, combined by two single covalent bonds. These two lines represent the two single covalent bonds between oxygen and hydrogen. As you can see from this video, this is the hydrogen molecule. When it combines with one oxygen molecule, we have one water molecule, H2O. The angle between the two covalent bonds is 104.5 degrees. The electronegativity of oxygen is higher than that for hydrogen, as you can see from this video. This electron is kept for a longer time around oxygen than the time taken around hydrogen. So water molecules are linked together by hydrogen bonds. As you can see, this is a water molecule. Oxygen, which is represented by this blue sphere, is negatively charged, which is attracted to the hydrogen, which has a positive charge by a hydrogen bond. This hydrogen bond is too weak, so it can be broken and formed continuously, as you can see. And it is represented by electrostatic attraction between positive and negative charges. And you will see that hydrogen bond is responsible for all abnormal properties of water. What's meant by hydrogen bond? It is a weak electrostatic attraction force that arises between the molecules of polar compounds. And we know that water is a polar compound. Note the following. Hydrogen bond is weaker than covalent bond. This is the reason why single covalent bond is represented by a solid line, while hydrogen bond is represented by dotted line, because hydrogen bond is weaker than covalent bond. Also, hydrogen bond is responsible for the abnormal properties of water. We will see that the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius and its freezing point is 0. This is a very large range. The reason for this abnormal property is the presence of hydrogen bond. Properties of water. Properties of water are divided into physical properties, and chemical properties. Physical properties of water, we will study the following properties. Water exists in three states. Water is a good polar solvent. Pure water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Water density decreases on freezing. Water has high latent heat. And finally, water has high specific heat. Chemical properties of water. Weakness of water ionization. Water has neutral effect on litmus paper. And finally, resistance of water to decomposition. First, let's talk about physical properties of water. The first property is water exists in three states. As you can see, water exists in the solid state, which is called ice, in liquid state, and it is called water. In gaseous state, it is called water vapor. Water is a good polar solvent. This is because it has a great ability to dissolve most ionic compounds such as table salt and some covalent compounds such as sugar. This is because it can form hydrogen bonds with water. If we have a piece of salt dissolved in water, as you can see, salt crystals can form hydrogen bonds with water molecules, so salt will dissolve in water because it can form hydrogen bonds. While some covalent compounds such as oil can't dissolve in water. This is because oil can't form hydrogen bonds with water. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. This is due to the presence of hydrogen bonds between its molecules. Because water has hydrogen bonds, this is the reason for this huge difference between its boiling and melting points. Water density decreases on freezing. This is because when the temperature of water decreases than 4 degrees Celsius, water molecules form ice crystals, which have hexagonal shape, large volume, and large number of spaces between them. As you can see, if we have a water molecule, you can see that hydrogen bond will be formed between each two successive water molecules. This will form ice crystals which have hexagonal shape, as you can see, 6 sides. Ice crystals have large volume, so they have low density, so ice will float on water surface. Give reason 4. Although water of oceans freezes at polar zones, the aquatic creatures are still alive. This is because when the temperature of water decreases than 4 degrees Celsius, it forms a layer of ice which floats on the water surface. And this provides the creatures with the chance to stay alive. As you can see, a layer of ice is formed, which protects the living organisms from this extreme cold weather. Water has high latent heat. Water has high latent heat, so it resists the change from a state to another. This is the reason why water is used to put off fires, because it consumes a large amount of heat of combustion media during its vaporization process. What's meant by latent heat of fusion or latent heat of melting? It is the amount of heat energy needed to change 1 kilogram of ice from solid state to liquid state without changing its temperature. This solid ice will change into liquid water at the same temperature, which is 0 degree Celsius. What's meant by latent heat of vaporization? It is the amount of heat energy needed to change 1 kilogram of water from liquid state to the vapor state without changing its temperature. As you can see, all these water will change from liquid water into gaseous water at 100 degrees Celsius without changing its temperature. Also, water has high specific heat. The specific heat of water is very large, so water can absorb or lose large amount of heat without changing its temperature. This is the reason why the temperature of the human body doesn't change by changing the atmospheric temperature. The human body's temperature is constant at 37 degrees Celsius. What's meant by specific heat? Specific heat is the amount of heat energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of a substance by 1 degree Celsius. Let's talk about chemical properties of water. Weakness of water ionization. As you can see from this video, this is the neutral water. When it passes between two electrodes, it will change into negative hydroxide ion and positive hydrogen ion. What's meant by ionization? It is the process of converting the molecules of some covalent molecules into ions. Weakness of water ionization. When water is ionized, it gives positive hydrogen ion and the negative hydroxide ion. One molecule of water, when it is ionized, it gives one positive hydrogen ion plus one negative hydroxide ion. The next property is water has neutral effect on litmus paper. As you can see from this video, water has neutral effect on litmus paper, whether it is blue or red. And this is an important give reason question. This is because water gives equal number of positive hydrogen ions, which are responsible for the acidic property, and the negative hydroxide ions, which are responsible for the basic property. Resistance of water to decomposition. Water doesn't decompose into its elements, which are oxygen and hydrogen, easily. This property helps to keep the aqueous solutions inside the cells of living organisms. Water electrolysis. Electrolysis of water means decomposition of water into its elements. As you can see, if we have two molecules of water, and by using electrolysis, water will be decomposed into two hydrogen molecules and one oxygen molecule. The apparatus that will be used to do the electrolysis of water is called Hofmann voltmeter. This is the Hofmann voltmeter. It is an apparatus used for the electrolysis of acidified water. By using a battery and the Hofmann voltmeter, we can carry out the electrolysis of water. This bubbles represents gases of hydrogen and oxygen. In Hofmann voltmeter, oxygen gas evolves at the anode and hydrogen gas evolves at cathode. This is because oxygen is negative, so it will be attracted to the anode, which is positive, while hydrogen is positive, so it will be attracted toward cathode because cathode is negative. This space represents the volume of oxygen, while this space represents the volume of hydrogen. And as you can see, the volume of hydrogen is twice the volume of oxygen. The ratio between the produced hydrogen gas and oxygen gas is about 2 to 1. So the volume of hydrogen gas equals 2 times the volume of oxygen gas. Detection of the produced gases. We can collect the gas which is produced as a cathode in a tube, and we will collect the gas which is evolved at the anode in another tube, and we will test for the two gases, and we can identify each gas from its properties. As you can see from this video, by approaching a burning match to it, it will burn with a pop sound, so it is a hydrogen gas. By putting a flame in it, it will glow more. The gas which helps in burning is oxygen. So the gas which is evolved at the anode is oxygen, while the gas which evolves at the cathode is hydrogen. Give reason 4. We add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid, H2SO4, to water during its electrolysis by Hofmann's voltmeter. This is because pure water is a bad conductor of electricity, but acidified water conducts electricity. Give reason 4. During electrolysis of acidified water by Hofmann's voltmeter, oxygen gas evolved at the anode, while hydrogen gas evolves at the cathode. This is because oxygen ions are negatively charged, so oxygen gas evolves at the anode, while hydrogen ions are positively charged, so hydrogen gas evolves at the cathode. Water pollution. It is the addition of any substance to water which causes continuous gradual change in water properties and affecting the health and the life of living creatures. Water pollutants. Water pollutants are divided into natural water pollutants, artificial pollutants. Natural water pollutants such as volcanic eruption. This will cause the increase of the temperature of water and hence the death of marine creatures. Death of living creatures. This will change the structure of water. Finally, lightning accompanying thunderstorms, because thunder and lightning have very high temperature which can break the bonds between nitrogen and oxygen, and this will form nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide and nitrogen monoxide will combine with the water of rains, forming nitric acid, and this what is called by acidic rains. Also, this will change the structure of water. What about artificial pollutants? Artificial pollutants, they arise from different human activities, and they are classified into 4 classes or groups. Artificial pollutants. The first one is biological pollution, chemical pollution, thermal pollution, and finally radiant pollution. Biological pollution. Its causes: mixing animals and human wastes with water, as you can see from this image. Its harms: it causes many diseases such as bilharzia, typhoid, and hepatitis. The second type is chemical pollution. Its causes: discharging of factories' wastes in seas, rivers, and canals. Its harms: eating fish which contain high concentration of lead causes the death of the brain cells. Increasing the mercury concentration in drinking water causes blindness. Arsenic increases the infection rate by liver cancer. The third type is thermal pollution. Its causes: increasing the temperature of some water areas used in cooling the nuclear reactors. Its harms: death of marine creatures. This is due to the separation of dissolved oxygen from water. The final type of artificial pollution is radiant pollution. Its causes: leakage of radioactive materials from nuclear reactors, dumping of the atomic wastes in oceans and seas. Note the following: the nuclear reactors cause both of thermal and radiant pollutions. How can we protect water from pollution? First, preventing of getting rid of sewage, wastes of factories, and dead animals in rivers or canals. Second, developing the stations of water purification and do a periodical analysis to water used in drinking. Third, disinfection, cleaning of the drinking water tanks, which are found on the roofs of buildings in a periodical manner. Fourth, don't store the tap water in empty plastic bottles. This is because plastic reacts with chlorine gas, which is used in water as a water disinfectant, leading to the increase in the infection rates by cancer. Finally, spreading environmental awareness among people to protect water from pollution. Thanks for watching. This is the end of lesson 4.